There are moments in life that feel heavier than others. Moments where everything seems to slow down, not in a peaceful way, but in a way that makes you feel stuck. Like no matter what you do, nothing is moving forward. You try, you put in effort, you show up, and still things don't work out. At least not the way you hoped, not the way you planned, and not the way you needed them to. And after a while, something inside you starts to shift. The hope you once had becomes quieter, the motivation you once felt becomes harder to assess, and slowly you start asking yourself a question you never thought you would take seriously. What is the point? Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because you're tired. Tired of trying, tired of waiting, tired of things not working out the way that they should. And in that space, giving up starts to feel like a relief, not failure, relief. You feel relief from the pressure, relief from the expectations, relief from constantly putting in effort without seeing results. And that feeling, it's more common than people admit. There have been moments in my life where I felt the same way. Moments where I had done everything I thought I was supposed to do and still things didn't work out. Plans failed, opportunities still didn't come through. Things I was certain about suddenly became uncertain. And I remember sitting with that feeling, wondering if maybe I should just stop trying so hard. If maybe I should just let things go, not in a peaceful, trusting way, but in a defeated way. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that nothing is working for you, that things are not just going your way, and that maybe you're the problem. But what I've come to understand over time is this. Just because everything is not working out right now does not mean it will never work out. And more importantly, it doesn't mean that nothing is working. Sometimes what feels like everything falling apart is actually things shifting quietly behind the scenes in ways that you can't fully see yet. Because life doesn't always unfold in a straight line. It doesn't always reward effort immediately. It doesn't always make sense while you're in the middle of it. There are delays, there are detours, there are moments where things pause, not because it's over, but because something is being redirected. And I know how frustrating that can be, because when you're in the moment, you don't want a lesson, you don't want a redirection, you just want things to work out. You want clarity, you want progress, you want something to finally go right. And sometimes the very thing you're holding on to is not what's meant to carry you forward. And that doesn't mean your effort was wasted. It means your path is adjusting. There were times I thought something not working out was the end of the story, only to realize later that it was only the beginning of something better, something I didn't even consider, something I never planned for, something that solved the problem in a completely different way. And if I had given up in the moment, I wouldn't have experienced that shift. And that's the part that most people don't always talk about. Not everything works out the way you expect. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not in the way you imagined. But eventually something aligns. A new opportunity, a different direction, a solution you didn't see before. And when that happens, you start to understand that the moment you almost gave up was not the end. It was just a difficult part of the process. But staying through that moment matters. Not because you need to push yourself endlessly. Not because you have to ignore how tired you feel, but because giving up doesn't always solve the problem. Sometimes it just pauses your progress. And there's a difference between resting and quitting. Resting is necessary. Stepping back, taking a breath, allowing yourself to feel everything without pressure, that's important. But quitting from a place of exhaustion, it often comes from a belief that nothing will change. And that belief is not always true, because life is constantly moving, even when it feels like it isn't. Things are shifting in ways that you can't see yet. Opportunities are forming, paths are opening, timing is aligning, and you don't always get to witness that in real time. You get to experience it all later. When something finally makes sense, when something finally works, when something finally shifts, and you look back and realize that moment you wanted to give up was not a sign to stop. It was a moment that required patience. And I know patience is difficult when you're tired, when you've been trying for so long, when you've been holding on without clear results. But sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come when you expect it. It comes after the moment you almost walked away, and this is not about forcing yourself to keep going endlessly. It's about choosing not to give up on yourself, even if you need to slow down, even if you need to rest, even if you need to step back and reassess. You can do all of that without completely walking away from your life, without deciding that nothing will ever work, because that's not the truth. The truth is, you're in a moment, a difficult one, perhaps a heavy one, or even a confusing one, but still a moment, not your entire story, not your final outcome, just a part of it. And moments do change, even when it feels like they won't. So if you're at a point where you feel like giving up, maybe you need to pause, not to quit, but to breathe, to rest, to gather yourself again, to remind yourself that just because things aren't working right now does not mean they never will. And that something, even if you can't see it yet, is still unfolding. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to feel strong all of the time. You just have to stay. Stay with yourself. Stay with your life. Stay long enough to see what happens next. Because sometimes, what happens next changes everything.